Hi, Abraham.
Yeah.
So many of my questions were already answered.
We really like it when the basis of what you're about has come into place, and then it's co-creating at its best, isn't it?
Right. I've been curious about something for a while. We as humans, or let's start further back. The field of attraction responds to everything, to all the vibrations, all the emotions, all the thoughts.
It's like putting a magnifying glass on something and making more of it.
Right. It seems like we as humans, it's so easy for us to create and think about and focus the unwanted. It seems like it's innate and natural.
It isn't innate, but here's why. Here's why it's common. It's not innate or natural, but it's common. Most people offer most of their vibration in response to what they are observing. It's a little bit lazy focus because it's easier to focus on what's going on. And when you think about it, what you see is a translation of vibration, and what you hear is too, and what you smell is too. So you're good at translating vibration into this physical reality, so it feels meaningful to observe it, and it is. But as you observe it, then the law of attraction just keeps replicating what you are observing. That's all. It requires caring about how you feel so that you are a better selective sifter in what you are observing. Sort of like if you were eating your way through a buffet, you'd taste it and you would move forward with the things that tasted good. But with thoughts, you often move forward with the things that don't taste so good. And you want to know why. Why is that? It's because the law of attraction pretty much just gives you a plethora of that kind of stuff when you get fixated that way. This is the most interesting thing about this conversation. We think it will surprise and delight you as you hear it. It's odd that unwanted gets such a foothold with the physical aspects of you, because the wanted is what's got the foothold with your inner being. It is only about attention to a subject. So what that's saying is more people are looking around than they are feeling around. More people are interested in what they're seeing than in what they're feeling. But when you make that new determination, I'm going to feel my way through, and then you find yourself focused upon something that just doesn't feel good. Let's start in another place. This answers it also a little bit. Most people, that's accurate, most people think that they would rather have a bad relationship or one that's not that good than no relationship at all, because something feels better than nothing. And so in a sort of pattern like that, most people would rather have a thought about something, even if it doesn't feel good, than no thought at all. And when there's momentum about something unwanted, you know the expression, the squeaking wheel gets the oil? Well, it's about that. Here's a better way of saying it. Most people would rather have negative emotion than no emotion, because it feels like they're getting something done. And you can't jump from negative emotion into momentum about positive emotion. The best way we've ever explained that is like a train going 100 miles an hour that way, when you really want to go 100 miles an hour that way. But you're not going to all of a sudden go 100 miles an hour that way, because it would destroy the train and everything in it. So that train has to slow, 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 and then slow, 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 slow. It's a subject of momentum. And most people don't want to take the time for it to slow down and then take the time for it to speed up. They think they're happy on the fast-moving train, even though it's not a pleasant experience. It's about that.
Right, and I think we all come in with a natural ability to attract what we want, but our environment, then we get socialized and...
So if we hear your question, and we're going to state it through our vocabulary, vernacular, why is step one the asking part? Why do people get stuck in step one? Well, really, it's a big step, because it's the defining step, it's the goal-setting step, it's the launching of a rocket step. All of your goals come from that. Variety and contrast is important to consider. It's just that when you aren't aware, what you're considering becomes a disadvantage. In other words, I know what I don't want, I know what I do want. That's fast. In the moment that you experience something unpleasant, you know that you want it. But then humans want to explain and define and defend. You know what it boils down to? We'll give you our bottom line up front perspective of that. What it comes down to is that everything that we're teaching you is about you figuring out how to tune yourself or calibrate your frequency to your source. Most people have calibrated to what they can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. You calibrate to your providers first, that mother or father or whoever. You calibrate to that. You calibrate as youngsters to your peer groups because you want to be liked. You see them and they see you, and you're aware of how they're seeing you, and you're wanting to be seen by them. So you give up good feelings in order to get along. You go along to get along. You want to be popular rather than feel good. You want to be right rather than feel good. But after a while, you reach a place where you want to feel good. You get feeling bad enough, and what you desire flips. And then we can have a conversation. Yeah? Does that answer your question enough? In other words, you don't have to define it or defend it. You don't even have to explain it. It's just sort of the way it goes. If you come into an environment where there's someone who's always looking for the positive aspects of things, and that's the dominant person in your life, and you calibrate to somebody who, however they've become that way, they're calibrating to the best of things, then you have a pretty good experience because you've learned that from someone. But almost no one has a consistent person in their life that does that, because no one was meant to be the light that you calibrated to. You all knew that when you came in. You've got source energy to calibrate to. That last question in our conversation earlier about the Stargate closing implies that there's something outside of you that is depriving you of something you want. That just doesn't exist. That's a human myth that you keep passing on to explain why you don't have something you want. Well, there must be something that is preventing me from that. Must be something more powerful or worthy than I am. And there is not anything that is.